G'day everybody, Duckville here. We've got a Protoss versus Protoss coming up today on Xeris Prime TE, one of the large new ladder maps. I don't know, I kind of like this map. I don't know why some people don't like it so much. There are some issues with it, obviously, but who knows, we'll get to that very soon. We do, as I said, have a Protoss versus Protoss. Starting up at the top right-hand side here is our red Protoss player. He's currently playing for the Cart clan or team or whatever, what have you. It is Aruncart. We'll say Aruncart, alright? I'll just go with that. His opponent down on the bottom left side is, of course, our blue Protoss player currently playing for Team Evil Geniuses. It is iNcontrol. One of the long-time stand-up figures of the StarCraft 2 scene, has been around since the Brood Wars scene, as I'm sure many people will be aware, has been playing for a very long time, since the early days when there was the folks such as Day9 and Artosis and Hydra and iNcontrol and Machine, and all the guys were all playing back in the Brood War days. So iNcontrol is certainly one of the veterans of the scene, and there you go, as mentioned by Aruncart, he streams quite a lot, has a really nice stream. It's educational and fun at the same time. I do like to watch a little bit of iNcontrol every now and then, so make sure you hop onto his stream. We'll see what happens in this PvP, because one thing that I do like about the way iNcontrol plays PvP, he's not afraid to go to the late game. He's sort of, you know, like a lot of people in this matchup, they tend to sort of favor sort of 1 or 2 base builds. You do see 3 base builds a lot more than we did in Wings of Liberty, but it still tends to sort of hang around this sort of, alright, let's finish the game at 2 bases kind of situation, which can be fun quite a lot. You know, if you're kind of into shorter sort of micro-intensive games where you got things like Blink Stalkers and, you know, really good usage of force fields and DT builds and stuff like that. But I really like to see late game Tempest play, large amounts of Tempest. Even carriers can come out from time to time. I'm sure if anyone used to watch my stream back in Wings of Liberty, I love to do very heavy Phoenix-based play into carriers, and it was quite a lot of fun. And like a lot of people say, that only works in Bronze League. Well, I was doing it on Diamond on Korea, and it was still pretty decent, and I got quite a lot of wins in PvP with that. But you know, each to their own. We'll see what happens here. Both these guys with very, very similar build for the time being. We've got double gas out from both of them. Their cybernetics core is just about to complete, and the probe count is pretty much dead on even. So not too much going on. I will mention that this coming weekend I will be casting the CNA MGG qualifiers, hosted by MGG, casted by myself and Claymores. We'll be doing a bit of playing there. We're going to have quite a lot of really good players. Huck's going to be playing. We've got gosh, who else? We got Gosu user. I believe actually iNcontrol is also playing. I think I can't remember if I saw his name on the sign up, but it's not only going to be some of the best of the C players like Pig, and I think Moonglade will be there as well, but also quite a lot of some really good quality NA players too. So please do tune into that. There'll be more details posted on my Twitter and also on my Facebook page as well. Would love to see you guys clicking the like button on my Facebook page as well. We're almost at 250. I would love to get it to 250 likes. I know that's not much in the context of things, but still, it'll be nice to have that. But as we see, iNcontrol has got his wow, what was cancelled there? I didn't actually look at that, but something was cancelled there. I'm not particularly sure what it was, but we do see iNcontrol's Mothership Core just out and about. Gonna have a quick round and see what's going on. The gateway at the back, a second gateway, so it looks as if we will get a couple of Stalkers coming out of iNcontrol, followed up by a Robo Facility, and we'll probably see a little bit of pressure maybe from him as my mouse goes wild. Meanwhile, back at home for Aruncart, we've got again, this very similar sort of build. We've got the Robo coming up very soon, along with a secondary gate, and a few sentries are going to come out, it looks like, so he's just going to be prepared for a defensive play for the moment, while iNcontrol gets a few Stalkers out, and is going to look for a mid, like a little bit of pressure. He's not going to go too hard at it, just because we can see that he is going to take his expansion, so he's gone for the more, it's weird, it's like an offensive defensive play, because you're trying to push your opponent to hold them back while you expand, whereas Aruncart has gone for this much more defensive play, getting these sentries out so he can hold his ramp. He's got a Stalker coming out as well. We can see more sentries now coming about, so iNcontrol is going to have a lot more power with the micro potential of those Stalkers, but he shouldn't ever really get any damage done here, just because of the fact, there you go, a couple of force fields, and that could be it right there for all of those Stalkers. So iNcontrol going to try and see what damage he can get done. He's going to, well, head down there, so it's not going to be too much damage, but it looks as if he will lose that secondary Stalker. So this game is just going to push through into mid-game, no doubt about that. Both players getting their expansions up. iNcontrol going to pick up an Immortal as well, along with a Forge, so he's going to look to get out a quick upgrade. We'll see which one he gets. Normally, you do want to get +1 to the attack upgrades for the Protoss units. Now, you wonder, why is it the attack upgrades? Well, number one, a lot of the Protoss units actually have dual attacks, like they kind of attack twice, or the very powerful units, like such as the Colossi and things like that, they have really big, powerful attacks. You want to be able to boost that, and when you get +1 weapons quickly, that really helps with getting that done. So we do see +1 has started up here for iNcontrol. He's going to add in a couple more gates as well, taking him to a total of 4, and we'll have his own little defensive presence here with a single Immortal, the couple of sentries there as well. Aruncart is going to have a quick look through. I don't think he's going to have to run away for now. These sentries will shine their little their flashlights on that observer, and eventually it'll go down from just stressing out so much, because it's going to have light shining in its eyes constantly. But it looks as if it is going to get away, and he should be fine. We got like the slowest high-speed chase ever. They're just gonna hang out now above this lava. What a nice view. But yeah, both these guys just sort of going very, very similar kind of builds here. Aruncart making a slight deviation now, getting his Robo Bay up and running. It will be very interesting to see Colossus come out. It's not too often you get to see Colossi in this matchup these days, just because of the simple fact that Tempests do really well. Void Rays in particular are the sort of the pick unit that people love to get out. So we'll see if either of these players is going to deviate. It looks as if iNcontrol hasn't picked up a Robo Bay just yet, so we may see him go down that particular path. And in fact, as I say that, I recognize that there is a Robo Bay down here at the natural base. So we are going to have some Colossus Wars, it looks like, from these two players. It has been as I said, a very long time since I have seen this kind of play in this matchup. Generally, people like to favor Void Rays, Stalkers, Immortals, and even so, Immortals are just becoming more and more unpopular. So it just sort of tends to go the way of Void Rays and Stalkers and things like that. So we'll see, you know, if either player recognizes that their opponent is going for the Colossi very quickly, or like we did see a hallucinated Phoenix float through, and in fact there is a secondary one just up here and now as well. So he's going to recognize that there is the possibility of Colossi coming out, whereas so far iNcontrol has not been able to scan out that his opponent is going down the Colossi path. So we'll see very soon if either of them is going to make a deviation to their tech. It does cost a lot to switch across to Stargates, and it does take a bit of time to get those Void Rays out, but they can be quite powerful in those battles. But we see iNcontrol now has a look and sees what's going on inside his opponent's main base, sees the double Forge, sees the Twilight Council, the Robotics Bay, poking away with its little spider legs in the center there. Somehow that does something for Protoss units when you poke in the center like that. But Aruncart is going to be looking to perhaps move out with his first Colossus. I don't think he's going to go too far, because it looks like we will get prepared for another expansion here. We're just going to go straight to 3 bases here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to have you know, a little bit of a passive game between these two players. As I said before, iNcontrol not afraid to go to the late game with his PvP, confident in the usage of especially Void Rays and the Tempest and these kinds of things. Can be very, very easily to swing a battle with a lot of those powerful air units. But it looks as if for the first time in quite a long while we're going to see some Colossi. So it'll be interesting to see where these guys go with it. But the upgrades coming out thick and fast. We've got armor coming out for iNcontrol, +2 to weapons also on the way. Extended thermal lance along with a secondary robo facility just about to come through from the EG Protoss player. And we'll see how he's going to set his composition here. You can assume that the majority of things is going to be balanced around the large amount of Colossi, as everyone will remember from Wings of Liberty. The more Colossi you have, the better you'll do, the better your composition around that is also a little bit of a factor as well. Like if you add in a lot of Zealots, that can help when it comes to close quarters combat. If you have a lot of Stalkers, that can help in its own regard too. So We'll see. It looks as if iNcontrol is going to invest in quite a few zealots for the time being. Until this third base is up and running, it's a little bit difficult to try and say, well, I'll just add in more stalkers or more sentries or, you know, even immortals if you wanted to go down that path as well, just because the gas count isn't too big at that time. Like, we can see that there's around about a 400 sort of gas coming in at a time. It takes you, what, 200 to get a Colossus down. Then you've got to add in a few more of those other units as well, along with upgrades. So it's a little bit difficult to try and just go straight sort of Colossus and Void Ray off of 2 base or anything like that. But both these players content to sit with their Colossi and their units just sitting at this little path here at the third base. So quite happy to sit back and play a macro game. iNcontrol up to 72 probes. Not a huge difference between these two. Just 3 probes now, so it's not going to matter too much. Aruncart is going to catch up in just a second. The important part we're going to be looking at here are the upgrades. We've got both of these guys on 1-1 on their ground weapons and armor, but Aruncart has a fast +1 shields. A little bit of a deviation in play here from Aruncart, and yeah, this is all we do to each other, is just sort of sit back and never actually attack. So a passive game between these two players, but the upgrades still continuing to bust out as quickly as possible from Aruncart. He's also got a couple more gateways on the way. Templar Archives, the Dark Shrine also being added in. I do like that addition. What I would really like to see perhaps are a couple of Warp Prisms come about from either of these players. I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, either or. It can be both, but I would really like to see some drops or something like that. Just a couple of zealots, maybe a couple of DTs or 2. Try and snipe out a cannon, maybe get a few probe kills. Probe kills don't really make a huge difference at this point when you consider that there are 3 Nexi out for each player. There's a lot of Chrono Boost available, so probe kills don't necessarily matter, but the time investment into coming back to kill these units can really help out, especially when you're in you know, a position like Aruncart where he's investing a lot of Chrono into getting these upgrades out. If he can buy just a little bit more time to add in the extra upgrades, which he's just got on the way, the +3 to weapons is now coming through, then he can put himself in a really strong position, because iNcontrol's upgrades are still a tiny bit further behind. In fact, no, I'm sorry, now that I look at it, he's actually a little bit ahead on both of those upgrades, and sort of this is what I'm talking about with buying some time here as Aruncart, because he's a little bit behind on the upgrades, just needs a little bit more extra time to get those extra ones coming through. But as we see, probes roaming about the map. Both players have set up some proxy pylons. We can see a couple around for Aruncart. He's also got another one just heading across this side as well. iNcontrol scouts that one out and says, "No, you don't, sir." Burns down the probe. The Colossi come across. That pylon is not going to last too long. 4th base is going up for both players, and we're still in a very, very passive game at the moment. The Colossus count is now up to a total of 9 for Aruncart, his opponent. iNcontrol is up to a total of 6, which is... it's a reasonable difference. I mean, that's 3 Colossus difference. We don't actually have like a large production quality difference, because they both have 2 Robos, and they're actually both now switching into Immortals, which I really do like. But it can make a difference based on your concave. Concave is a really big thing in PvP. If we sort of look at the way this battle could go, we can see that iNcontrol, if he can set up that sort of concave on sort of a clustered sort of position for Aruncart, then that could mean quite a lot, because that's a lot more space to be firing down on your opponent. If you're in control, your Colossi are going to be firing all these kinds of directions onto Aruncart, who's going to be just firing back at this massive sort of area, plus he'll be very clumped up. So it's very important to consider the positioning of your battles in PvP when you're going this kind of style with a large amount of Colossus. We see the Archon starting to come out as well, along with those extra Immortals which are being added into the battle. So it's very important to be aware of those sorts of things, and as we can see, it looks as if Aruncart is going to take the fight to his opponent. iNcontrol now making his way across to this 4th base, and he's going to set up the defenses here. We've got a couple of cannons. We got the a few Immortals around ready for him. 6 of those Immortals, 2 Archons, along with those 6 Colossi, and it looks as if iNcontrol is ready to rumble. But yet again, this is going to be the important part here. Who is going to step over this line and sort of become that player who is in a very clumped up position, because this is going to be very important here. We'll see which one is going to make the maneuver. It looks like Aruncart has a quick scout through. iNcontrol did know what was going on before. He controlled that Zilnaga watchtower to the side, but has now lost that position, and we'll see. I'm still waiting for someone to actually do something here, but just at the moment we've got these very proxy attacks, Aruncart sends in a few sacrificial zealots and says goodbye to cannon number 1. Cannons number 2 and 3 are still here. And, you know, cannons aren't necessarily a massive part of this upcoming battle, but they add a little bit more DPS. They can tank a little bit if some of the units decide to try and fire on them instead. But as we see, Aruncart adding in hallucinated colossi. I love this move. This is a very, very clever move from Aruncart here. We'll see if it can make a bit of a difference. It looks like there is a zealot trying to make its way around, and the battle engages here. Aruncart finds a very nice spot here, firing across the lava, and it gets a huge amount of damage done, but the battle rages. We've now got hallucinated colossi are not actually taking the damage here. Mothership Core is battling in the middle there, which is quite an interesting thing to see, but both players are just burning away each other. Zealots now warping in. We see some of those zealots coming in from iNcontrol and from Aruncart, but it looks like Aruncart is gonna have a bit of an advantage here. He did have those hallucinated colossus, but they weren't utilized properly. I would have liked to see those used a little bit better there in that fight, but I mean, he won the fight anyway. He has a lot of colossus. We've now got him down to just a 7, whereas iNcontrol has 5, but iNcontrol will have a little bit better resupply at this point until Aruncart can get his own units back out on the field. So the Zealots now coming in. We did see that Nexus did fall, but iNcontrol trying to make his way back. Need to be very careful with these clumped up Colossi. If you clump them up, they take a lot more splash damage from the multiple thermal lance shots from the opponent's Colossi. And this is one thing which people started to really learn in PvP in Wings of Liberty, is that you have to be very careful with your clumping. And iNcontrol brings in some DTs to try and save the day, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be enough for him here to be able to wrench this one back from victory, because I mean, he's lost his 4th. His opponent is not necessarily mining away a great deal, but he does have the Colossus count, has been ahead in the Colossus count for the majority of this game. He's now at 6 to the 4 of iNcontrol, but iNcontrol is just scrambling to try and find some units. We've got Archons, we've got some Zealots now warping in as well. If he can maybe split the units, his Colossi up a bit, I could possibly see him holding this, but this is going to be extremely difficult with those 3-2-3 Zealots now coming in. iNcontrol has 3-1-3. It's a slight difference, but it's a difference nonetheless, and it could mean the battle right now, and I think it may. We see iNcontrol is going to be facing up against a lot of Colossi walking up the ramp. Luckily for those Colossi, they don't face any penalties for shooting up a ramp, unlike in some other games, and it looks as if iNcontrol is going to lose out quite a lot of his units on the ground, but the Colossi is still alive. He's got a total of 6 to the 8 of Aruncart, and he kind of lost a little bit in that battle here, but I don't like the push out from iNcontrol. You have to be so careful when pushing out on units like that. It looks as if a nice little time warp from the Mothership Core really helps out there, but all of these Zealots getting burnt away by those Colossus of Aruncart. We see up the top left, you can see that Colossus count has started to dwindle for Aruncart. We'll see if this factors in at all. Looks like he brings one of the very unhurt Colossi to the front. The new ones has been brought there, but the hurt Colossi at the back are the ones doing the big damage there. And iNcontrol now down to a total of 2 Colossus to the 4 of Aruncart. It's a random DT just around about the map. A weird little forge wall, cannon wall, I should say, across to the side. And, well, it looks as if iNcontrol is going to hold for the moment, but does he have enough gas to be able to resuscitate his army right now? We do have to invest into things like the Zealots to tank on the ground, but I mean, he needs more Colossi at this point. It's going to be so hard to get those extra Colossus out. We were talking about the double robo production for iNcontrol. He's got that rolling, but so does his opponent, and his opponent has this extra little bit of gas coming in now, which is a very important factor in this fight. We can see that they're in a little bit of a standoff at this point. Aruncart just waiting for a few more units to be added into the mix. He's up to 169 supply. More Zealots and a couple of Templar are here to help out with this fight, but I don't think iNcontrol is going to last too long. He's got his own Colossi out now. We do have 4 in total, along with these extra Archons on the ground, some Zealots there as well. In fact, five Colossi. Is that more than... Oh, it's close to... It's just a short lead there by Aruncart. Just one singular Colossus. But here we go. Looks like the attack is going to push forward. Archon's giving the Mothership Core the Pimp Fist, and he's just going to push in, and I think this is a good idea here. But iNcontrol with a very, very nice spread on his Colossus means they're not going to take too much splash damage, but will they be able to do enough damage themselves? The Archon's coming forward from Aruncart, and that is effectively it. When you've got a Colossi trying to shoot down some Archons, and then the Colossi from your opponent and just burning your own Colossus down, that is it. And a really an extremely passive PvP. Like, I know a lot of people aren't big fans of passive games, but I mean, the build-up to the crescendo of that game was just insane, where we had a few big fights between Colossi, Archons, and Zealots, and those sorts of things, and in the end, we see that Aruncart was able to take a Colossus lead. He took a little bit of a positional advantage trying to engage his opponent in this section here, and then came forward, took the 4th base, which means no more gas coming in from this base, which in turn means that these double robos of In Control were not able to produce enough Colossi. So that was your game here between these two players on Zerus Prime TE. Hope you enjoyed the match. Please feel free to subscribe, say hi on Twitter, and all those cool things, and I'll catch you all next time. He's now just got 1 inside the gas geyser. In fact, he's taken 2 out. So we'll see if he's just planning something a little bit fishy here. But the spawning pool not quivering at the moment. This is one sign that you have to be very careful of when you're a pro